Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, I rose in the House to ask the Premier about this government was doing to honour its treaty obligations. But then I got my answer with the government's latest budget. There was hardly any mention of specific commitments to First Nations or Indigenous peoples in Ontario, but instead, there was over $2 million less in base funding for Indigenous Affairs. Premier, this government has already cut the budget for Indigenous Affairs in half. Now another $2 million is being cut. Why is true and meaningful reconciliation not a priority for this government?
Questions addressed to the Premier.
Associate Minister of Energy.
Referred to the Associate Minister of Energy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the member for the question. Our government is working for all people in Ontario, including Indigenous communities. An important part of that is ensuring that the next generation of young people know the shared history, the culture, and the diversity of language that exists within First Nations communities of this province. So our government has expanded and enhanced education and learning of First Nations history from grades 1 to 8. It's why we've added 10 additional courses for secondary school students so they know more about the incredible contributions of First Nations. We share a passion for the opportunities of renewed economic prosperity with Indigenous peoples in Ontario. We believe there's tremendous economic opportunity and potential within our First Nations community, a fast-growing community in this province. We're going to continue to work with them in good faith to ensure that they're able to reach their full potential, get economic opportunity, and realize the dreams this country should be able to provide for the First Peoples of our community. Mr. Speaker, we've engaged with community leaders from across the province and look forward to strengthening those relationships as we move forward with the plan.
Thank you very much. The supplementary question.
Mr. Speaker, this government has an obligation to the First Peoples of this land, but there are First Nations that have gone decades without clean, reliable drinking water. Mr. Speaker, clean drinking water is a basic human right. These communities call on you to be a better treaty partner. Yesterday, Matawa First Nations called on you to honor the treaties that govern their territories with respect to Bill 132. Speaker, reconciliation requires real resources and real effort. Will the Premier restore the base funding for Indigenous Affairs that he has cut since forming government? Yes or no?
Members will please take their seats.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker.
Question has been referred to the Associate Minister of Energy.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and again to the member, thank you. This is a very important issue. We inherited yet another issue from the Liberals. They had 15 years to have taken action so that you wouldn't have to stand here today. And it's sad that they actually built our debt to $13 billion a year we spend in interest payments. That money could have gone to programs, services, and yes, clean water. The Minister of Indigenous Affairs, the great member from Kenora Rainy River, has a great relationship with many of the First Nations chiefs across our great province, and he's working hard to address these problems that we've inherited. He actually appointed Mr. Clifford Bull to ensure that there is an opportunity for him to be a special advisor on Indigenous affairs. Mr. Bull has travelled throughout Northern Ontario and visited several communities to meet with Indigenous leaders and hear about the unique issues affecting Indigenous communities. We as the Government of Ontario are committed to working in partnership with Indigenous communities to promote economic opportunities, improve quality of life, and meet Ontario's legal obligations. The funding that was there was one-time funding. We continue the base funding that is there, and I know Minister Rickford is going to do everything he can to work with members like Mr. Mamakwa to make sure that our Indigenous communities have the opportunity that we all have.
Thank you very much.